Okay, so here we'll be looking at a way to find out the sign of the roots of the quadratic equation based on the sign of the sum of the roots and sign of the product of the roots of the quadratic equation. So how we'll do that? We'll take different cases for sign of sum of roots and sign of product of roots. So if the sign of the sum of the roots is positive and the sign of the product of roots is also positive, now this means that the sign of product of roots will be positive if either both the roots are negative and or both the roots are positive. But both the roots cannot be negative because otherwise then the sum will also come negative. So therefore this means that both the roots, so instead of writing both the roots are positive, we can write that alpha beta both will be greater than 0. Alpha and beta are the roots of the quadratic equation. Now similarly, if sign of the sum of the roots is negative and the sign of the product of the roots is positive, this means that alpha beta is less than 0, because the product would be positive only if both the roots have the same sign, and we are given that the sum is negative, therefore both have to be less than 0. Now what happens if sign of the sum of the roots is positive but the sign of the product of the roots is negative? Now sign of the product of roots is negative means both the roots are having opposite sign, but the sum of the roots is positive. This means that one root is greater than 0 and the other root is less than 0, but the larger root has to be positive, then only the sum will be positive. So alpha has to be greater than beta. Similarly, last case we can get in the similar way. Here in this case the larger root will be the one which is the negative root because the sum is negative. So this is how we find out the sign of the roots of the quadratic equation.